Welcome back to Rating the List, where we review, discuss, and reimagine popular movie lists objectively. We're your hosts. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Brad, and we are continuing our top 10 horror movies with number 4, Halloween.
All right, Halloween, released in 1978, directed by John Carpenter, starring Donald Pleasence and Jamie Lee Curtis. The synopsis for this holiday slasher is as follows. On Halloween, Mike Myers escapes from a psychiatric ward. As Mike is walking and driving around town stalking teenagers, his therapist tries to stop him before Mike does any damage. However, he reaches Laurie and her friends first.
All right.
That was my own synopsis.
That was your own one. You got it by yourself.
So this movie,
It's a little dated.
It's a little dated. I think it's dated just because it's so slow paced.
Yeah, it's definitely a slow build.
So slow. It's very stalker. It's just really,
the
stalker
film
vibes.
Well, the film, there's a little bit of violence in the very beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but the whole point is the film is kind of building up this. Is she seeing something? Is she not seeing something? Is it all in her head? Because at first, Laurie is the only one that sees him. Like, there's a shot where he's, like, on the sidewalk and she sees him and says something to her friend, but by the time her friend looks over...
He's gone.
And then, when things, like, really start finally going down, it kind of seems like it could be a practical joke.
Yeah, but I think, too, like, by the time her friends see him, it's a little too late.
Well, kind of too late, yeah.
A little too late.
Well, the one guy, I mean, by the time he sees him, he's just like, lifted up against a wall by his, like, throat and, like, stabbed. So
yeah, so,
didn't have a whole lot of time to come to any kind of conclusions.
No, and so Laurie is basically the only one that starts seeing this guy throughout the movie. I mean, he's like hiding behind bushes, and then he's driving, and then
he is stalking her because her dad is trying to sell his family's old house.
Yes,
and he sees her like go there, so it's kind of for whatever reason he attaches to her, and that's why he's kind of stalking her.
So meanwhile, we have his therapist who knows that he has escaped, and he's trying to, with the cops, I think he's trying to find him. He knows that he probably went to this town,
mm-hmm.
and so he's looking for him, but he's always like one step behind.
And they're also keeping it like kind of on the down low because they don't want people to like freak out about it.
Right, which I think might have been a mistake.
Always works well in movies, kind of like with the shark in Jaws.
Yes,
Yeah.
Keep going in the water. It's summertime. It's fine.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
It's very slow paced, but I mean, this movie has started this whole it was the start of this whole Halloween genre.
Well, the whole slasher thing.
Yeah.
And this is the first film, and I think I want to say there are over a dozen Halloween movies at this point.
I don't know.
So there's you've got multiple different timelines with Halloween. So the canon on these movies is a little convoluted. There's actually one that just opened in theaters, I think this week.
Yeah, Halloween Ends.
So this again features the Laurie Strode character. She's come back in the last two that have been done that are direct sequels to this first movie.
Yeah, and I'm hearing that might be the end of it.
That's what she's saying. She said she's not coming back. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis is in her 70s now.
Yeah, I think she's you know what? Honestly, how this woman has been dealing with this Mike Myers for so many years, I'm surprised she hasn't stroked out yet.
They do, from what I understand, the last one, it kind of shows that she has some pretty serious mental issues as a result of this lifelong kind of situation that she's been dealing with.
I mean, understandably so, really. I mean, if you have somebody coming after you all the time, yeah.
And speaking of Jamie Lee Curtis, this is her very first movie.
First movie.
Yeah.
She was great.
Yep. She got the whole... she inherited the scream from her mother, Janet Leigh.
which we'll be discussing this
yeah.
further on down the road here.
Yeah.
So yeah, this movie is good though. It's a good slow burn. It gets very intense at the end.
It's got great music.
Great music. I read or listened to a podcast that said that they were able to listen to or watch this movie without the music.
Yeah, there's a cut of this movie. I don't know how commercially available it is,
Yeah.
but there's a cut of this movie that doesn't include John Carpenter's, score that everyone knows. The everyone knows.
Everyone.
Even if you've never seen
Yeah.
the movie Halloween, you know the score for it.
Right, and they were watching it without the score, and it was like a totally different movie, and it was awful. Like that movie, the music really sells it for this
really
movie.
does.
It really does. There's a couple of classic horror films that I don't think would be the same without the music.
I think horror is a genre that almost requires a really strong score to really kind of pull all the emotions together. Like, you don't like it's almost like there's a blueprint where it kind of tells you where you're supposed to be a little scared and where you're kind of supposed to,
or like something's coming,
or the music will let you know this is a spot where you can relax a little bit and kind of let yourself cool down a little bit. The score will kind of dictate when that's going to happen, because if you've got to be like intense for 90 minutes to 2 hours, that's going to be a pretty exhausting experience. So,
yes. Well, and then if you think about the movie, like A Quiet Place,
right,
that has nothing. Like,
But-
you really have to think about.
but it's not that's the absence of sound.
Also has an effect.
It has the same kind of effect.
As sound. So, if you haven't seen Halloween, I highly recommend giving it a watch. It's something you got to put under your belt, right?
Yeah.
So,
especially if you're seeing the trailers for this new one and you're thinking about checking it out, you really should go back and see
where it started.
Yeah,
for sure. Any other comments?
No, the music for this one's always held for me. I've always really thought it was really cool that John Carpenter writes, directs, usually edits, and does all of his own music.
He's pretty freaking talented.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, like, do we feel like Halloween and some of the other slasher franchises gone too far? Do you think it's too much now?
It's hard for me to say because I'm not a huge horror fan. There are a lot of these Halloween movies I've never seen before.
Yeah.
I've seen this first one. I know I've seen number 2 and number 3. I'm not sure I've seen any since then.
Okay, yeah.
Number 2 is a strange movie because it really doesn't feature.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
him.
Yeah. It's weird because
Or is
it's
it 3? Is it 3? Which one?
No, I think it's 2.
Whichever one is Season of the Witch.
I think it's 2.
I can't remember which one it is, but that one doesn't feature Michael Myers.
Yeah, it's a whole. I think they were gonna think about doing like an anthology thing, and then it just didn't.
Yeah,
go anywhere.
They've had, this is a kind of a franchise that doesn't. It's not devoid of ideas.
Yeah.
It probably has too many, and you've got several different filmmakers that have come in and done things with
And
the movies.
studios.
I mean, you've gone so far as, there's one where he's in space, which is ridiculous. Then you also have him going up. There's all kinds of weird stuff that happens in these movies. It's all over the map, but it's effective. He's creepy. And like when you talk about these kind of movies, there's kind of the big 3, right? There's Halloween, there's Friday the 13th, and there's Nightmare on Elm Street. These are kind of the movies that influence all the other ones that are kind of in this realm.
I always liked Nightmare on Elm Street just because, one, there's something really, really scary about not being protected when you sleep. That's one thing. And 2, he's like extremely funny.
Yeah.
Right? Freddy Krueger. He's kind of funny. He says
He's the only
snappy one-liners.
He's the only one that speaks.
Yeah, that's true.
The other two don't speak.
That's very true, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, if you have watched Halloween and you have some opinions, please let us know. Please comment on our videos. If you're liking our content, please like and subscribe. If you would like to contact us personally, please contact us at ratingthelist@gmail.com. So that's it for now on this movie. I'm Jerry.
I'm Brad.
And we're Rating the List. Bye.